Today's reflection comes from Pastor Martin Sauter of the International Congregation at St. Finian's Lutheran Church in Adelaide Road, Dublin. The reading is from Luke chapter 11, verses 11 to 15. On the way to Jerusalem, Jesus was going through the region between Samaria and Galilee. As he entered the village, 10 lepers approached him. Keeping their distance, they called out, saying, "Jesus, Master, have mercy on us." When he saw them, he said to them, "Go and show yourselves to the priests." As they went, they were made clean. Then one of them, when he saw that he was healed, turned back, praising God with a loud voice. Now let's listen to Pastor Martin.
Hello, my name is Martin Sauter and I'm a non-stipendiary pastor at St. Finian's Lutheran Church in Adelaide Road in Dublin, near the concert hall. Listen to your God speaking to you today. Listen to God call your name is the theme for today in the Scripture Advent calendar. It is quite wonderful. God speaking to me today? Perhaps that hasn't been quite your thing up to today. Perhaps you are a bit suspicious of folks going round saying that God has spoken to them. Well, so am I, if I'm honest. And yet, when I read these words, they do give me a bit of a jolt. Be attentive, Martin. Be awake. You are a beloved child of God. The very fact that I breathe, that I am alive, is a wondrous mystery which can lead me straight onto a path of contemplation and adoration. Our theme today encourages us to see everything that happens to us today in the light of this wonder, that I am beloved and held. But then there are so many voices around us and indeed inside of us, quite a noise. Our heart can be like the M50 during rush hour, chock-a-block with thousands of thoughts dashing to and fro, constantly changing, preventing us from focusing, wearing us down, particularly these days with the worries and pressures of the pandemic. Will I get infected? If so, what would that be like? Would it be life-threatening? And would I have long-term effects? Will furlough end in unemployment? Will our marriage survive the lockdown, the claustrophobia of our current lives? Are the kids okay? And what about climate change, Brexit, and on and on and on? How do we stop this? And where is the voice of God? In the scripture passage for today, Jesus responds to a similar confusion and troubledness among his listeners. John the Baptist had been thrown into prison. He had been a fearless and passionate prophetic voice, but because he spoke truth to power, exposed the corruption that had infested the body politic and indeed the religious community, he had become a threat to the establishment, to the rulers, and they were now moving to eliminate that threat. And so John's many followers were confused and fearful. They had hung on his words, had gone out into the wilderness, into the desert, to hear him, full of high hopes for an imminent transformation of their lot under the Roman occupation and its local puppet regime. They had hopes of the arrival of the Anointed One, the Messiah, whom John had announced. that would instantly change everything. But with him imprisoned and worse threatening to happen to him, where could they go now? And what about this Jesus character? Was he the one that John had announced? Many things about Jesus were fascinating, but he did not fulfill their desire of instant revolution. And now he was even telling them that God's domain, the kingdom of heaven, and its adherents were going to suffer at the hands of the men of violence. Where was the light at the end of the tunnel? Jesus' response to their confusion, their troubledness, was not, don't worry, just forget about it, be happy. But Jesus says, let anyone with ears listen. We need to work at this, learning to listen, learning to become still, because God's voice of truth is a quiet one, can be easily overheard, suppressed, denied. We know, don't you think? We know that this is the way, because in our heart of hearts, we do not trust the noise. We do not trust the loud voices, the angry voices, the bitter voices. They are not life-giving. Advent is inviting us to become still, to consciously block out the noise, carve out time in the day away from the traffic of our thoughts, entering into the presence of God, who will welcome us. We will learn to see clearly and truly, and we will emerge strengthened and reassured that we are indeed God's beloved children. Blessings on your day.